Everything that we have today is fake. They've faked it, the whole thing. God told them that he was giving them the promised land. He said it was a goodly land, right? And he said that his eyes were on it from the beginning, and he brought the early and latter rain every year, and he was the caretaker of it. It was flowing with milk and honey. What we have today is just through irrigation. It's faked. They've faked it. God's eyes are not on it. It's not a goodly land. It's not flowing with milk and honey. They've literally had to irrigate it to cause anything to grow. Mark Twain said it was a desolate wasteland in the late 1800s. It was devoid, and he would not want to live there, right? They have faked this through technology. It's not God's eyes on it anymore. Now, the land of Israel was super important to God. It was the gate to heaven. It's where Jacob laid his head, right? He said, this is the gate to heaven. This is the house of the Lord. Before that, they were called Hebrews. They were wanderers. Whenever they came into the land where Jacob laid his head, then they called themselves Israelites because they were settled, and it was the land of Israel, their promised land. They got it. Then because of their transgressions, they were carried into Babylon, and then they were the children of Judah. They were waiting for the kingdom of Judah. They were waiting for the Messiah to come and restore Jerusalem to God. And then they were called Jews. But that Messiah came, and he fulfilled the covenant. He fulfilled everything. He took them into a heavenly promised land. He destroyed the land of Israel, according to the Bible. The Jews were led away captive into all nations. It was no longer the promised land because he took them into their fulfillment, into the heavenly land where Abraham is there. God is the God of the living, where they all received their rewards. They had here no continuing city, but they looked for a better hope in heavenly. Great was their reward in heaven. Today it is not a promised land. It is not God's eyes on it. He's not the caretaker of it. They don't have a temple because everything was fulfilled. The stones are laying there for all of them to see, right? There's a dome built on their mount so that they cannot build. They have loads of proof that Jesus Christ was the Messiah, that he fulfilled the whole thing, that he took them into heaven, that is not the land of God anymore. And they haven't had anything since the time of Christ. They've had their daily sacrifice was taken away, the jots and tittles passed from the law, new heaven, new earth, new land in heaven, new land, new heaven, new land in heaven. If the earthly house of that tabernacle were dissolved, they had a home eternal in the heavens. The whole of the promised land revolved around the temple, right? Jesus fulfilled that. Ever since Moses, ever since Jacob laid his head down and said, this is the gate to heaven, this is the house of the Lord. Then they had the tabernacle, and then they had the temple. It all revolved around that. They don't have that anymore because Jesus was in fact the Messiah, and they've had nothing since the time of Christ, and they're so blind that they can't even see it. True Israel is in heaven and has been since 70 AD, since Jesus Christ finished his work, and he's been ruling over the house of Jacob forever in heaven. He has a heavenly city, the New Jerusalem, right? A mount that cannot be touched. They became his angels. The city is the cubits the size of a man or of their angel. Give me a follow.